Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Slow Creative. I've been away for a while, at least 6 months. My life has been completely flipped upside down since the last time I've been on YouTube posting content and videos. And that's what I wanted to share with you today is how to come back to your work, how to get back into a creative flow state when your life has been, chaos and turmoil behind the scenes and kind of share with you how I've been easing back into my creative work and into getting back into the slow creative life and some of the things that have helped me because I know that some of us we're dealing with a lot. Some of us have kids like me, younger kids, high needs kids. I have a child on the autism spectrum. Some of us are dealing with aging parents. Many of the people who follow me are in that second half of life or in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. And, there's so many things that can be impacting why we're having a hard time kind of connecting with our creativity or why we might be feeling disconnected from our work. And so that's what I wanted to share with you in today's video. So, very quickly, I'll just kind of give you the down low on where I've been, some of the things that have happened behind the scenes. But yeah, so back in July of last year, my husband, our kids, we were building a home for 2.5 years. And we moved into our forever home last July 2024, I believe it was. And 3 months after we moved into our beautiful new home, my husband and I separated. And as you can imagine, this was it was a difficult time to say the least. So I was just really my energy was really obviously very scattered and my priorities had shifted immensely because now I was looking for a new home for me and my children. I was dealing with all of the legal and administrative things behind the scenes, plus the emotional and just kind of mental toll that takes, and trying to be strong and supportive for not just myself, but for my children as well. So, all the creative projects that I had on the table at that time, they went. I mean, I wasn't doing YouTube anymore. I wasn't on social media. My business really took a back seat, which is often how it goes for many of us. I know some of you are artists, some of you are coaches and healers, and it's so hard when you're so close to your work and it's an extension of who you are, and so much of our personal and our businesses, like our lives and what's happening between the two, overlap so much. So it can be really hard to get into that flow creative state when we've been dealing with so much behind the scenes. So I just wanted to share that with you because I know some of you are going through some big things too. You have a stress, you're dealing with something very heavy, you're going through a major life transition. Maybe it's an illness, maybe you're grieving something, the loss of someone, maybe you're dealing with a divorce as well. There could be anything really. And if you've been stuck and feeling disconnected from the work and maybe creativity altogether, then I hope to give you some inspiration in this video to gently ease your way back. I'll share with you some things that I have done and how that process is going. And yeah, so let's get into what that looks like. So I know that one of the first things, and I know this from experience, one of the first things that happens for me when I'm going through something that's very stressful, very chaotic in my life, and it's eating up a lot of my mental and emotional and sometimes physical bandwidth. One of the things that is the first thing to go when I'm in that survival mode is always my creativity and my inspiration. I start to feel disconnected almost from myself, not just my work, but from things that I love to do. And I start to just, my all of my senses start to kind of hyper focus in on obviously what's essential. I mean, that's how we've been designed by nature. So I don't think that's any surprise. But when you get in that mode, it can be really tough to kind of segue and transition yourself back to a place of creativity. When I was going through all of that heavy stuff with my family and the divorce and the finding a new home and renovating and all of the, not just all of the things that I had to do, but the stress of all of that, I just couldn't focus on anything in my business at all. I didn't have content ideas. I didn't have the right frame of mind to be on camera. And I know there's some people out there who can do this, but for me, I was struggling so hard to get back to that place of just where the ideas were flowing. I remember I was on camera doing a video and the words just wouldn't come. I was doing retake after retake. I couldn't articulate anything that I wanted to say. I couldn't formulate a thought and I couldn't remember anything. I was looking at my notes. I couldn't remember from looking at my screen to looking at the camera. The thought would leave my head. And I just thought, this is not going to serve anybody. And I remember thinking at that point, I don't know that I'm ever going to get, after months of being in this state of being so focused on what I needed to take care of in my business or in my personal life, I remember thinking, am I ever going to get my creative spark back? Am I ever going to feel connected to my work and to my business again? And I remember thinking, maybe it's time to pivot. Maybe I don't do the slow creative anymore. I was thinking, like, I don't feel that creativity. Like, how can I be the slow creative when I don't feel creative? And I remember going through this weird kind of phase. So then I remembered I cannot expect myself to be creative when I have all of these other things happening. And if I give myself spaciousness, the creativity will return. And I trusted that with time and when things started to smooth over, I guess, in my personal life and things became a little easier and we got into a good rhythm because we were completely out of our regular rhythm and flow for home life. We were living in boxes. We were trying to find somewhere to live. We were between homes. Like, it was just a really chaotic time for all of us. And it was like work was another thing to add on my plate. And I feel very fortunate that I was able to not focus on my business so that I could take priority in my personal life. But it was just this fear of me losing all of my creative energy and thinking that it's gone. Like, I don't have any love for my business anymore. How am I going to come back to this? So one of the first things that I remember doing and that I think is a really good place to start is just allowing yourself, first of all, having some grace and recognizing that this is hard. It's not gone forever. And then giving yourself space and just allowing that spaciousness to unfold in whatever way. If you need to take some time off and just rest, if that literally means rest, if that means spending some time in nature, taking a holiday and going to visit some family, if that just means doing nothing and, just surviving and being in survival mode until the moment passes, and that's what it means. But not forcing yourself to come back before you're ready, I think is very helpful, because I did do that. And I actually felt a lot more almost guilt and resentment when I tried to force my way back. So just giving yourself some time to let things breathe. And if there are smaller things that you can do, if you're able to pick up your phone and post something to Instagram or write a letter to your email newsletter list, if there are smaller things you can do, I mean, by all means, do it. But if you're really struggling, it's okay to just step back, give yourself some space, rest, pause, and just kind of tune inward and see what it is that you might need. It could just be that you just need some rest. Okay, so after you've allowed yourself and had some grace and compassion for what you're going through, and you've given yourself some spaciousness and some time and with that rest period in between before rushing back, when you do feel ready to come back and you feel like you want to start picking up on some of your creative projects or you want to get back to posting regularly in your business, one of the first places that I find really helpful to start is to come back into your business and to just start organizing things in your business. That could be organizing your computer desk files. It could be going into Canva and cleaning up your folders. It could be looking at all of the YouTube videos if you're on YouTube and cleaning up those files and moving them to the places that they need to be. It could be taking out your notebook and just jotting down a list of things that you want to do in your business and getting organized with kind of what the plan looks like for coming back. So the next thing that I did was it was really important that I had an inspiring workspace. For me, having a creative, inspiring workspace is really everything when it comes to my creativity. When I can feel inspired in a space, it definitely helps my inspiration. It helps me feel good in the space, and it just gets me in the right sort of frame of mind so that I can bring forth my best work. And so when I came back, I didn't have a desk. We had just moved. I still don't have a desk, but I had to sit somewhere and I wanted somewhere that felt cozy and comfortable. So for now, I just have my computer set up in my kitchen table, but everything is at my fingertips. My tripod is there, my camera is there. I have my microphone, and everything that I need to do the type of work that I do. And so just having this little creative nook, I guess, that feels inspiring to me was really helpful. Once I started organizing and then I set up a creative workspace, I started to feel a lot of the weight starting to lift and a lot of the fog starting to lift. And I started to feel re inspired in my business again. So for you, maybe coming back to your office or your workspace, maybe giving that a fresh, new look, cleaning it up, getting rid of things you don't need, rearranging some furniture, bringing in some fresh artwork. Like it could be a million different things that you want to do to make your space inspiring. But if you have an inspiring creative workspace, even if it's just like a little nook in the side of your closet, make it inspiring. That's where you sit and you bring your creativity and you want to bring your best work. So you want to feel your best in this space. You don't want to go to that space and feel heavy and like it's uninspiring and it's doesn't, you already feel crappy before you even begin. So if you have a beautiful, inspiring workspace, that can really set the tone and change your mood and change your energy. So the final thing that I want to share with you, if you've been in a funk and you're trying to get back to your creative work and feel re-inspired again, is to not fit yourself into a box of like, I'm going to sit down at it's 8 a.m. and I'm going to work until noon and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. For me, creativity often comes in short bursts and it can lead to longer bursts of focused work. But when I came back, I was just giving myself one or two small things to do. I wasn't overwhelming myself with 10 or 15 different things. Things had piled up immensely while I had taken that break. But instead of looking at this massive to-do list, I broke it down and I grabbed a couple of things that I felt would be like the biggest or most important place to start, the priority for what I do and for where my clients are at. So one of the things that I did was I focused on getting my website back at a place that reflected my work, my offers. The styling had gotten really out of whack. Things were not looking very organized. It was very chaotic. So once I got into the flow of organizing my website, that then led me into reorganizing things like my offers that I had, they were out of date, reorganizing a sales page that I had. And then suddenly I started to gain clarity. I started to remember, okay, this is the direction that I wanted to take. I remembered that I can get back into podcasting pretty easily because it's easy for me to speak into a mic. I didn't think that I would be back into YouTube so soon, but as I began one creative project, it started to open up my inspiration in so many other areas. And that's the really beautiful thing is I want you to remember that if your spark has been gone, for a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a few years, and you are wondering if it's gone for good and how are you going to get this back, I want you to know that it's not gone forever. You just need to create the spaciousness for the creative spark to reignite. You need to create the right environment and help yourself get into the right headspace so that your ideas can flow. But my biggest tip for you is to not force anything to happen. If you start to meet that resistance, it's okay to question it and say, what do I need right now? For me, when the resistance shows up, it usually means that I need rest, I need to take a break, and I need to go for a walk in nature. I probably need some nourishment, or I need to just go do something for fun and take a little breather from what I'm doing and give the creative work some spaciousness so I can come back later with fresh ideas. So don't force it. Of course, consistency is important. But if you're constantly meeting that resistance, you're just going to waste your time and your energy. So it's better to just focus on what your body needs. What is it asking you for? You can literally say, like, tune in, close your eyes, hold your hand on your heart, and say, what do I need right now? And I guarantee it's probably rest or food, maybe a hug. Something is going on beneath the surface that's kind of blocking you from accessing the creative inspiration that you're looking for. And finally, the last thing that I want to leave you with is make your comeback fun. If you know that you're going to be working on trying to get your creative spark back, you're going to be working on some creative projects, or you're trying to ease your way back to your business and your clients after a long break or a big life transition where there's been a lot of stress or a lot of turmoil, create a ritual for yourself. Make it fun to come back. Make it intentional, whether that's lighting a candle, spending a few minutes before you sit down to work with your journal and just getting some ideas on paper, or maybe it's pouring yourself a glass of tea and sitting down at your desk before you start and playing some relaxing music. Doesn't matter what it is, just make it a beautiful and enjoyable experience, and it's going to make showing up so much easier. Set a date with yourself so that every day you're showing up for 10 or 15 minutes. Don't expect to come back and pour 4 hours of creative work into your business or into some project that you've been working on. Commit to 10 or 15 minutes, and eventually you'll start to see your ideas and inspiration. All of it is going to be returning to you full force. I'm in an immense creative flow right now, to the point that I can't even keep up with my creative ideas. They're coming in way faster than I can track them or I can act on them. So that's what's been happening with me. I'm in such a deep creative focus right now. And that was because of the steps that I just outlined for you. I think without doing any of those things, it may not have happened as effortlessly, I guess you could say, as it has. But I'm certainly enjoying being back in my creative energy and having this spark return. And I know that it's possible for you too. So that's it for today's video. If you have been in a season of transition and things have felt really hard and you feel like you've lost your spark, you're wondering if it's ever going to come back, remember to honor your pace. Don't force it. Don't try to beat the resistance and just push your way back to getting where you were 6 months ago, a year ago, or whatever that was for you. Just honor your pace and it will return. If this video spoke to you, please subscribe for more content on creating a slow, calm, and creative life. Please leave a comment below and share with us what's one way that you have found that has helped you reconnect with your creativity and your inspiration when you've lost the spark. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.